Thank you, Viviana, for inviting myself and Simon for this session about the Indian community in Malta. So when did the Indian community first come in Malta? The year was 1880. So we're looking at close to 140 years that we Sindhis, because Sindhis, what does it mean? Sindhis are people who come from Hyderabad, Sindh, which is a state. And after the separation, it is now in Pakistan. Obviously, before India was India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. And a lot of people moved from Sindh around the world. So I think the Sindhi community is the largest in the world because we don't really have a state. It's like if you say I'm a Punjabi, I can go to Punjab, which is a state in India. So we sort of lost our roots. And besides that, also for people to know that we are Sindhi, we added 3 letters at the end, which is A and I. So it's Mohnani, Bharwani, Sujanani, Daswani. So people would know that we are Sindhis coming from Sindh. So it's like an identity. Yes. So when we came to Malta, obviously this is my great-grandfather with another 4 or 5 different families in India. We came to Malta thinking that Malta was maybe part of Italy. And we remained here, and the majority of the people, Sindhis, all got involved with business. So a lot of people ended up opening stores, shops, started importing materials from India, spices, materials, cotton, and anything to do with certain products which were difficult to find in Malta. And slowly developed. Today, I think the majority of the Sindhis, very few have shops, because now, before the Sindhi community was all based on business. And now we've changed. A lot of people have gone into professions. So like Simon obviously has gone into property. There's my sister's in property. There's his brother-in-law who's an architect. There's his sister who's a doctor. So a lot of people went into different professions which were not the usual thing of Sindhis at that time. Changed the circumstance. Why? Now we have a temple and we do a lot of things which we would do if we're in India. So we have the Diwali, we have any types of festivities, any prayers, any birthdays of any gods. So we celebrate at the center, which is very good. And I think the Indian community has remained very close. Our main, I think we're about 150, 200. Some of the Sindhis obviously got married to Maltese. And I would say the really interesting fact is that a lot of the Maltese, mostly they're women who got married, they end up coming to the temple. So even though they're Christian, they still come to the temple and they respect Hinduism and they take part in the activities. They would come to any prayers, they would come for the volleyball, which is a big thing. Obviously this year we're not going to be having it. The bottom line is that we should always respect people's ideas, religion, customs, and that makes a big difference, I think, to the relationship you might have with people who are not your religion. We're living in Malta, it's a Christian state. I think 97% of the nationality religion in Malta is Christianity, and there are a couple of other religions. So if we're living in Malta, I think it's good even to understand the Maltese way, the Maltese religion.
Again, anyone can Google this if they want to, but the idea of Diwali is that good manages to win over evil. So that is the main scope of the whole festivity. So, as I explained, I'm married to a Maltese. My wife is Maltese, and I've got 3 kids, and 3 of them are Catholics. So for me, it's a bit of a different way we look at things. For them, actually, they look at Diwali as their second Christmas. So we actually give presents to the children. We do a couple of sweets that are prepared in-house by either my mother. My wife actually does some sweets. My sisters, my brothers, even part of the community also. They make sweets. So we actually meet up at our Hindu temple and we dress up in new clothes. So that's another tradition that we keep, that we have to dress up in new clothes. And we meet up and we celebrate the Diwali first at the temple. After we celebrate the Diwali on the day, we actually then meet as a family and we celebrate the Diwali together, which is very similar to what people do even for Christmas. In fact, another thing that we've introduced as a family also is we actually give presents to each other also as a family. And we also have prayers in our place of work. That's another important part of our Diwali tradition. It was my father who had initiated the idea with other members, senior members, to start collecting the funds for this temple. In fact, Gordhan's mother was one of the main contributors too at that point, because my father and Gordhan's mother were very good friends even at that time, and they created like an association whereby between 3 or 4 elders they organized and they decided that the time has come for us to set up a temple in Malta. Obviously, since most of the families here are merchants, what they decided to do is collect funds from each and every family. Today we have a fully functional temple in San Juan. It is a small temple whereby we keep it specifically for the Sindhi community and their families. And it is opened every week. Again, during COVID, we meet mainly on Zoom also. But we open it every week and we do the main functions of our Hindu traditions. I don't know, maybe Gordhan can continue on this.
So for Diwali, in the Indian calendar, we have 48 weeks. So that means Diwali changes every year. So this year, Diwali is on the 14th of November, which is a Saturday. Now, when we do the prayers at home and also at work, it's like you are thanking God or whoever is your, your saint or your, because there are a lot of different gods. There's Krishna, Hanuman, Ram, there's so many. Whoever you want to pray to, whatever, because that's a good way of thanking him, maybe even once a year. Hopefully you should thank every day, but generally thank once a day. So that is why you buy new clothes, you do some prayers at home, you give a sweet to your friends and also maybe to your colleagues, even take them at work and you give a nice sweet, because we also believe that when you give something sweet, sweet things would be uttered from your mouth, not negative things, not only positive things, and things which make the person happy or smile. So I might be giving a compliment. Again, that's the mentality and that's the thought why we give sweets. And also at the temple, we're not allowed to have any meat taken in the temple and no alcohol. So it's a holy shrine. And obviously we're trying to respect that. To even go to work and do your prayers at work as well. It's like, it's a start of a new year. So you say, okay, whatever happened, let them go away, the bygones be bygones. Something maybe which didn't happen in your business, maybe you were not successful that year. I mean, obviously this year is a good year for everyone, but you start off with a bang. So you say, okay, whatever happened, let's start the new year. So that is why you're wearing new clothes and it's the start of a new year.
In fact, that's why when we first started, when my father first decided to even form the Indian community as a community itself, it was first known as the Indian Merchants Community. And then slowly they decided to change it into the Maltese Indian community.
The temple obviously is open to anyone. So any religion, it could even be atheist. So anyone is welcome to the temple. And obviously we don't have any barriers or stop anyone to go and say, I'm sorry, no, you can't come because we're not. So, I mean, whenever we have any activity, we always invite them. Even when there's a Diwali board, we try and tell people, please, please, please come, whatever, whether you're Indian. Even sometimes we've had Pakistani come to our Diwali board. Why not? And a lot of Maltese look forward to the Diwali board. So they say, okay, we see Simon on stage and Gordhan and all these youngsters, the future generation of Malta. And then we have good Indian food. So it's a fantastic experience. A lot of people say, okay, I want to come for the Diwali board because something like that. It's fantastic. I will never have experienced something like this in one evening.
We are officially the Maltese Indian community, whereby we were one of the first people who actually settled in Malta. Now today there are a number of other NGOs, they've actually organized themselves as NGOs, which are obviously different because even they come from separate areas. Like we have a lot of people coming from the Kerala area. We have other people coming from different areas. So these have actually organized themselves because they actually have different traditions. Because people from Sindh can have one tradition, but people from different areas, like from the south of India or from the north of India, can have different traditions also. So I think this has actually increased the beauty of having different people coming from different areas. We're all Indians, but then we all have our own separate traditions and also cultures and even language sometimes, also in this case.
We believe a lot. It's always good to be good to people. And obviously, law of attraction plays a very big part in my life. So it's like what you do to people comes back to you. If you're giving positive energy, obviously you're going to receive positive energy from the world. And if you give negative energy, you're going to receive negative.
The funny thing about all the Indians I meet, the first person they tell me, wait, I know Gordhan. Are you Gordhan? The first thing they tell me. So as if this guy, I'm telling you, there are, I think today, there must be at least between 4,000 to 6,000 people who originate from India living in Malta. This is my personal idea. This hasn't been confirmed, but it is amazing how these people, every one of them would know Gordhan. So I'll just leave up to the biggest networker. I'll just leave up to the biggest networker just to explain to us how the hell does he manage this? I can't understand this, but anyway.